For the end of August 2025, here's the educational and international news of the Party of Communists, USA. In international news, tensions near Venezuela are rising after deployment of U.S. Navy ships in the Caribbean in the declaration of looking for drug dealers and gang members. Militias have mobilized in response in Venezuela. Trump and Putin briefly met in Alaska to discuss peace in Ukraine. France also announced it was looking to recognize Palestine in September this year. The educational comes from Chapter 7 of Perils of Fascism by A.B. Magil and Henry Stevens. The German has not the slightest notion how a people must be misled if the adherence of the masses is to be sought, wrote Hitler in Mein Kampf. This statement has been deleted since the 12th edition, published in 1932. The misleading of people is part of the normal practice of capitalism. The whole bourgeois political edifice, with its formal and legal democracy, concealing the economic and political domination of a small number of wealthy men, is based on a fundamental class deception. The existence of certain civil and labor rights, most of which have been wrested from the ruling class only after determined struggle, modifies, but does not basically alter, the class character of the political superstructure. So long as it rests on the economic foundation of the private ownership of the means of production by a small, wealthy class, democracy, even in the freest capitalist republics, is necessarily maimed and limited, and in the present period is under constant threat of extinction. Under such conditions, complete democracy is never more than a promissory note which cannot be redeemed under the profit system. With the development of monopoly capitalism, the area of social deception may be said to have expanded as the area of democracy contracted. Deceptions and demagogy tended to function more and more as an arm of the capitalist state itself. And some of the greatest cultural contributions of capitalism, the press, universal education, and later the cinema and radio, have been used as vehicles of this deception. This took on a more organized form with the march of monopoly after the Civil War, when corrupt political machines in New York, Chicago, San Francisco, and other cities made it a practice to trade on the discontent of the masses, wormed their way into labor unions, themselves took up the banner of reform, of attack on big business, and by combining systemic deception with bribery and gangsterism, were able to win what appeared to be popular support. Yet even this type of social demagogy was to a large extent crude and improvised. It is only in the period of the extreme decay and degeneration of capitalism, when its very existence is threatened, that there emerges a more scientific system of mass deception, the demagogy of fascism. It might indeed be said, writes Palm Dut, that if Marxism represents the development of socialism from utopia to science, fascism represents the development of capitalist demagogy from amateurdom to science. The highly specialized character of fascist demagogy derives not only from the gravity and complexity of the problems facing capitalism in crisis, but also from the fact that in most countries fascism, in its effort to achieve power, is compelled to appear in the guise of an opposition to the bourgeois democratic government and at times to even the capitalist system itself. The necessity of creating a mass movement that seems to express the deepest needs of the people, but in reality aims to suppress those needs with inexorable brutality, requires an elaborate technique of deception, which makes all past capitalist efforts in this respect seem like gospel truth by comparison. It is important to be clear as to the meaning of the term demagogy. The reactionaries call every revolutionist, every labor leader, every progressive, a demagogue. But the essence of demagogy is the deception of the masses. Those who generally carry on the struggle to improve the lot of the people play a diametrically opposite role. Demagogy is the art of playing on the hopes and the fears, the emotions and the ignorance of the poor and suffering for the benefit of the rich and powerful. It is the meanest of the arts. This is the art of fascism. Long, Coughlin, and Smith in the past, Trump, J.D. Vance, and others today have sought to create mass movements that are largely in the classic Mussolini-Hitler pattern, but it would be a mistake to see the danger of fascism solely in demagogues such as these. In Austria, Spain, and Poland, and other countries, fascism has assumed different forms, but it has been no less dangerous. For whatever the form, the lifeblood of fascism is finance capital. Yet the fact that pseudo-radical demagogues of fascism have been able to take root and flourish in American soil points to the fundamental maladies of our system. The conditions that make possible a Huey Long, a Father Coughlin, a Gerald Smith will not completely die out so long as capitalism lives. But the struggle to prevent the Longs, Coughlins, and Smiths of then, the Trumps, and other fascists of now, from gaining their ends necessarily involves a struggle to ameliorate and change those conditions. And this means not only a defense of democracy, but its expansion.